Aldo Starker Leopold was an American author, forester, zoologist and conservationist. He also served as professor at the University of California, Berkeley for 30 years. Throughout his life, Leopold was active in numerous wildlife and conservation groups throughout the United States. Family and education. Born in Burlington, Iowa, in 1913, A. Starker Leopold was the oldest son of noted conservationist Aldo Leopold and Estella Berger Leopold. His siblings, Luna, Carl, Estella, and Nina, all made contributions to the conservation movement. As a result of his father's employment by the United States Forest Service, Starker Leopold spent some of his youth in New Mexico. When his father began teaching at the University of Wisconsin, the family moved to Madison. He received his B.S. from the University of Wisconsin in 1936, and then studied at the Yale Forestry School before transferring to the University of California, Berkeley, where he received his Ph.D. in zoology in 1944. In 1938 he married Elizabeth Y. Scott and the couple had 2 children. Career at Berkeley. After working in Mexico for the conservation section of the Pan American Union, Leopold returned to Berkeley in 1946 as assistant professor of zoology and conservation in the Museum of Vertebrate Zoology. He became professor in 1957. For 3 years he was assistant to the Berkeley Chancellor. In early 1967, he changed his affiliation to the School of Forestry and Conservation, where he was professor of zoology and forestry until his retirement as professor emeritus in 1978. He also served as director of the Sage Hen Creek Field Station from 1965 to 1978. Conservation and authorship. In 1962, A. Starker Leopold was appointed as chairman to the Special Advisory Board on Wildlife Management by Secretary of the Interior Stuart Udall. Leopold retained this association until his death 20 years later. The advisory board was responsible for writing what is known as the Leopold Report, a series of recommendations regarding wildlife and ecosystem management in the country's national parks. The report is recognized as a seminal work for the conservation movement. Leopold was also an active member of numerous conservation committees and organizations, including the Nature Conservancy, Sierra Club, Wilderness Society, and the National Wildlife Federation. In addition to the more than 100 scientific papers he authored, Leopold wrote 6 books during his life. He was elected to the National Academy of Sciences in 1970. Books: Wildlife in Alaska, Wildlife of Mexico, The Game Birds and Mammals, The Desert, The California Quail, North American Game Birds and Mammals, Wild California, Vanishing Lands, Vanishing Wildlife, photographs by Tupper Ansel Blake.